listening to Fresh Out, the world's most dangerous music podcast on the OMG Network and rawthinic.com.
Fresh Out.
What's up?
What up-er?
Voltron's in the building.
Man, he's in there, isn't he?
Bebo P was good, man.
Hey, man, living life. How about you, brothers?
The yellow line, Bebo P.
Bebo D's the feet. J Kent was good, man.
What's cracking, man? Good, bro.
LB, man, what's going on in Detroit?
Oh man, just living well, taking it easy, and as my man Bebo P always says, staying corona free.
Rona free.
We want to have a little black table talk today, man, and just kind of rap about some things, man. Like on a serious note, not just on the music tip, but just on the social, aspect, man. And just want to do a round table, man. Just change it up a little bit. And, from the George Floyd situation in May to now, it just talking about social, not just social injustice, but social reform, and police reform. And, how do you guys, I'm going to start it off, man, and you guys can just go, is just, are you seeing any change from all the movement from the George Floyd situation in May till now? And then if not, what do you think we need to do?
I'm definitely seeing more awareness, which I think is a good thing. I think that George Floyd woke a lot of people on the other side up who didn't really think that there was any type of police brutality against black folks going on. I mean, if that George Floyd didn't prove it, nothing else is gonna prove it to you.
But quick question though, Jammer, like, why now? Why George Floyd? Why not, Tamir Rice or any of the other people, in the past? Why George Floyd right now? Like,
true.
I think because so many of the mainstream bloggers, the mainstream media outlets, I think there's more information out there, not only across social media, but there's more platforms for people to see these type of things. The fact that Fox News was showing some of this stuff, man, it's unbelievable to me. And I think once you start getting that type of footage in other audiences' faces, it starts to kind of make sense for some people. So I think there's a little more sensitivity to it now and awareness than where we were before.
Yeah.
Also too, it's like what Bebo P said too. I think it's the first time somebody has saw somebody die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not just the whole police brutality. It's the fact that you watch somebody die.
Yeah.
Well, we watched Eric Garner die, though, right?
True, but I don't think it got as much.
Right. It didn't.
Visibility as this, and then also then the other thing too is the fact that he cried out for his mother, and I think that's what got a lot of women involved, men involved, as far as like, hey, that that could be my son, that could be this,
right.
And now you have a connection with the guy,
And it's only so much that you could. Go ahead, JB.
No, you good, B-Bo. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, couple that with the fact that there's only so much sweeping under the rug that you can do, because as Elle was alluding to, they knew about like individuals like the Tamir Rices, the Sandra Bland's and so forth, maybe not as big a scale as the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor situation. But it was almost like one of those things where, I don't want to talk about this or deal with this because it makes me as, a white person feel uncomfortable discussing this issue. Or, in some cases I've heard individuals, within the Caucasian contingent talk about the fact that they just, they might not speak about it as much or at all because they simply just, quote unquote, don't know much about the underlying issues that led up to this, and many more instances like it. So, that's just been some of my experience.
And some of it seems like that it's almost to the point where the people are kind of tired of hearing exactly what you were saying. Like, oh well, I don't know if I know enough about a certain kind of experience or whatever. And it's like, all right, well, after this happens 12, 15, 16, 20 times or whatever,
Right.
so on and so forth, at some point, like that whole like, well, I don't think I know. Well, you know now. It's happened 20 times. Like,
And you know what? It's funny you say that because I talked to one of my guys about that very same thing. We've had 3-4 hour conversations about like racism, white supremacy. And, I'd be schooling them to the game about how things have been working on a historical basis all the way up to this point and ongoing. And that is a great point that you took right from me, which was the fact that a lot of folks know, but they just don't want to face it. So a lot of folks play like they don't know, when in actuality, in most cases, they do.
Yeah,
very true.
Nah, man, I'm with you on that.
Well, this is the thing too, man. The good thing is there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out of this situation. Literally this today. I just read in San Francisco they have a Karen Act coming out. They just put it on the board of supervisors to get it approved. Which Karen Act means Caution Against Racially Exploitative Non-Emergency Act. Which basically means that if somebody calls, like a Karen calls and says, "Hey, somebody's attacking me," you can actually go to jail for that.
You should.
Okay.
You should
call 911, and it's basically falsely accusing somebody of doing something. You can go to jail,
just like Central Park Karen when she did that today.
Exactly. It's
crazy.
That Kristen Cooper, by the way, if you want to look her up on Twitter. But to me, I think some cool stuff is coming out of this. I think also there's some other things that are trying to get the water a little murky a little bit as far as what. We want as a people. They're trying to put sexuality into it, and no doubt that's serious. Gosh. But to me, I think there's a whole thing where we need to focus on police brutality, no doubt, social injustice, number one. I think the statues are cool, but I don't know what you guys think about that as far as like getting rid of them. I think, in my opinion, you should keep some of them up. Just basically put another figure right next to them or in that same area to show that there was history of racism in this country, but also there was a time where it turned, and now we are actually celebrating freedom fighters and those kind of heroes. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Well, I gotta give a shout out to go ahead, J Camp. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we shouldn't glorify the statue.
True.
You ain't got to put no rosaries or nothing like that around the statues. I mean, to me, the statues are just an emblem. I'm not saying that what they represent wasn't bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as long as folks ain't out here glorifying these statues, I mean, honestly, grass can grow up under them for all I care. I mean, it is a part of history. I mean, I get what that other side is saying from that perspective, but
true.
I know in the Deep South, man, that history, unfortunately, it has a lot of horrible connotations to it. A lot of cats was lynched by them same people. They was, some of them same cats were slave owners.
True.
So
I just don't want anybody whitewashing history where you get rid of it. So, our kids don't even know about it.
And that was my next point. So that now that we're tearing them down, that leaves it up to us to educate them on the history because, like Dummy, like Orange Man said, if you erase your history, you're doomed to repeat it, which is completely true. I'd say if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it, which is completely true.
So how about this then? Go ahead,
Bebo. No, go ahead. I'm done with my point.
Okay, so we can run with that argument and say this. Well, I doubt they'll do it, but if we want to leave the statues, let's leave them as is in their desecrated state.
I agree with that. I'm cool with that. And that's why I don't know if we can let grass grow up under it.
Yeah, and
repaint it if you want to.
But how we look at symbols is could be different than how they look at certain symbols, and particularly in this case, shout out to Professor Black Truth. He cited somebody not long ago, and stating that symbols are how groups basically focus their collective will and. Basically give inspiration to accomplish whatever things that they will whenever or desire whenever they come together. Not too different than the Holy Cross. to us as Christians and so forth. So
I'm probably more impartial, Bebo, to the Confederate flag than the statue.
And that was my question too on the flag joint, man. What you guys think about the whole NASCAR thing, getting rid of that?
I applaud NASCAR, man, because I think in that particular sport, we already know that flag is celebrated for other reasons other than your love for the South. That flag,
100%.
Yeah.
That flag represents racism, and that's
LB, what do you think about the flag on the NASCAR thing?
Oh man, it has to go. Like if they truly want to get that wide appeal that they claim that they want, then it has to go 100,000%. And we know, like, everybody who's lived any amount of time in the South knows exactly what that represents and what that means to everybody.
Yeah, even more so than the statues, man. I mean, that Confederate flag, man, like Bebo P was saying earlier, I mean, that's like a Nazi symbol. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Very true.
Well, I'd rather you burn them joints than tear down them statues.
Well, but how much different, and when you really look at it, are the statues of the individuals who basically are a human embodiment of the flag than the actual flag themselves?
Well, to me, it's just history, man. At the end of the day, you don't want to whitewash the history. Not really. To me, like when you're waving a flag or when it's on top of a state capitol building, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? When it's on your license plates, 'cause I think Georgia was still having it on a license plate this year.
In Mississippi, that was a state flag.
Exactly. To me, like the statues, if you don't know about it, like this thing, people have been walking past those statues for years and didn't even know what the hell they were. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So at the end of the day, like I just don't want to whitewash that out of history.
But that's not really whitewashing it, though.
I don't think so either.
To me, it is. That's just my opinion at the end of the day. But to me, man, if you whitewash those things, man, then a lot of people don't understand what happened growing up. Like literally, when I with the video in Bloomington of those people trying to literally hang that person by the river, right. I was talking to a person the other day about it. I said, well, dude, my grandfather talked to me and Lionel about that when we were kids. He was like, hey, dude, never go down to the river with some people who are from a different culture. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, well, whose parents didn't tell him that? You know what I'm saying? And obviously it's not a good context with the statue. At the end of the day, to me, man, you're allowing people to remove, certain things, man. So
I just say paint them in the light that they are. Sometimes I think, these statues up there look like these dudes is Kobe Bryant. And it's like, nah, you was a loser. Like you got stepped on by the 3-point line, bro. Like you didn't, you weren't whoever that a lot of these Confederate statues are. Like, nah, you got mopped up. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna update it, and I think statues a lot of times is even like of lesser importance. Man, go through and correct the daggone textbooks. That's
true. That was serious in the South. The South did not allow any books from the North to basically get down there at all to any other school system. So those kids in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Even today, though, it's happening right now.
Exactly. They were indoctrinated to to think a certain way, to almost even think the South won.
And that's kind of my point too, LB, is that all you gotta do is just tell the truth about them statues. Like put some context, because they already got stuff engraved on them. Yeah. Put the truth on there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, I think people need to see these dudes are evil. Like this is what evil looked like then. This is what evil probably look like now. This guy.
But what's funny is that then you'd have to probably make a whole different statue to show the true evil of the person.
And that's that's where I'm going. My thing is like, hey, let's get our own money together, our own foundations, put up our own statues of some freedom fighters, some musicians, politicians that actually cared about the actual country. You know what I'm saying, and not just one sector.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get it mistaken. We need to know all the details, right?
Yeah.
And like to me personally, statue up or down, I don't care. If the dude was a nasty dude, they tore it down, whatever. If they left it up, I'm just gonna walk past it anyway. But I understand why certain people feel about that. But you know what? Like, the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of other things that need to happen besides statues being torn down. But hey, if a few get torn down, whatever, man. They were stuck us.
I mean, that's how I feel too. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like if they stay up, they stay up. If they get torn down, they get torn down. I don't, it don't really bother me. It's just once you start tearing stuff down, you just kind of you empower people to do stuff like what they did to the Frederick Douglass joint.
And let's to be clear, most black statues be getting defaced all the time, like the Emmett Till joint.
Of course, true. Yeah,
like
true.
It took a man having to put a camera up there, and it got messed up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Like the same, like statue, like what's so sick in your head that like a man that got dragged behind a car and hung, you think that like a memorial to that person is like not cool? You know what I'm saying? Like on the Emmett Till joint. So it's wild. It's wild.
Right.
What do you guys think about the protests from the start till now? How do you think the protests went and that are going, and where do you see things going now? Where do you want it to go? And I started with Bebo P. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, obviously, with this protest and what I would consider more so an uprising, things were definitely at more of a heightened state at the beginning of the propagation of the George Floyd video being circulated throughout not only social media but mainstream media, and it does seem like there has been a dwindling of the flame, but that flame is still lit.
True.
There are certain pockets in the nation and the world that is still and talks about certain things and promoting activism within certain cities. So I think that, as you mentioned earlier, ID, with the muddying of the waters, so to speak, of other agendas attempting to insert itself within the mix of the black agenda or the black uprising, if you will. Won't go into the names of them per se, but I think that they're trying to deflect from the main issue, from Black America's request, or rather demand of what it is that we require for overall betterment. But I don't think it's working as well as they thought. I just don't.
And that always is the case. And let's also be clear, right, that justice is messy. It's gonna get messy. It's gonna get muddy. There's gonna be some thoughts out here and out there, and it is the duty of the leaders and the people that are focused on that to bring that to refocus to where it's supposed to be. But yeah, it's gonna be muddy. It's gonna be nasty, and this ain't like gonna happen in an easy manner by no means.
Not at all. And I think as long as the activism continues on a protracted level, then we can make some ground, we can break some ground, and cause some like real positive transformation for our people. But if we let our foot off the gas, then it's game over for another 400 or 500 years, if not for forever. So this is the reenactment of the civil rights movement. We've been given another chance to right the wrongs that, sadly, the civil rights movement wasn't successful in a lot of ways.
Yeah, man, but they also killed a bunch of us back then as well. I mean,
true.
Yeah. And if you listen to some people, they'll tell you that there's some of us that are getting put out, that are the leaders of the activists that are getting taken out right now. I can't say one way or the other, but I can say about the stuff in the past for sure. They took out when you take out Martin and Malcolm, whatever criticism you may have of those two, they were still very powerful leaders within the black community. And you take two powers like that, take them away, and what's my man from Chicago with the Panthers, they killed him too. I mean, it was a lot of different people that were like really leading and moving things back then that they got flat out killed.
Well, that's why you make
even just on an organizational level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the biggest thing right now is there's no organization, or it's being organized by the wrong culture.
Well, I think there is organization. I mean, this can't happen without some organization. So I think it's there. Could it be stronger? Could it be better?
Yeah.
I think that's true. But there is some organization there. There are.
Well, I agree,
It's just
but
not
sometimes
consistent.
it's from the wrong culture.
It's just not consistent.
Very true. There you go. It's not consistent, and it's not from the right people, if I can say that. Obviously we're a balanced platform. So we'll have to say that for the culture podcast. But at the end of the day, it's not being led by the right group. Let's put it that way.
Well, here's the thing.
I'd like
too.
to see it morph into. I like to see it like morph into something bigger, meaning, not to sound like Candace Owens, my God, but I like to see it, morph into us cleaning up our own streets, because at the end of the day, just like some of these goofy people be saying, if Black lives really do matter, then we need to make sure that Black lives are mattering in the streets. Because at the end of the day, we still cleaning our own, we still street sweeping the wrong way.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
We need to make sure we take care of that.
That's important, no doubt. But we can't keep street sweeping and all that our way toward empowerment at the same time. So that's why I think that's and I'm not negating what you're saying at all. I'm just saying we need to keep our foot on the gas about resources. That's what we need. Legislation, resources, something tangible that is going to benefit specifically us as a people. Going back to the leaders that you mentioned, like your Martins, Malcolms, and so forth.
Huey.
Yeah, Huey. Thank you. And many more that have been taken from us, robbed from us. I think the importance now, in contrast to the times of the civil rights era, is to make sure that we make the Black agenda the leader. You do that, and you can't take out a specific individual. Yeah, you can kill certain activists if if that's what you desire, but one person isn't centered around an entire agenda. And that's
why I was saying, Bebo, as far as just cleaning up our own neighborhoods, man, and unifying people and empowering them and feeling good to go out and do something. But you got so many people in our own neighborhoods, man, that's even scared to even make a move, or they constantly grieving because a loved one has been lost. So I'm just looking at this like big picture. Big picture, we take care of home, we take care of ourselves, and we get more unity. And you get less haters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I like what you said about that, JC. What do you guys think about our economic level? People always talk about, police brutality and certain other things. But what about the economy? Like, if you look at a Jewish community, that money circulates 15 times.
Oh, my God.
Like, if me and Lionel say, hey, let's make a chicken joint and let's put it in Chinatown, they will burn that joint down. But then we're okay with having other cultures coming in and making money off our culture, so our money never circulates ever. It doesn't even circulate once. So what if we actually were protesting about getting those businesses out of our neighborhoods and actually establishing some businesses of our own, so that way at least our money flips a couple times before it leaves?
Man, unfortunately, we got hoodwinked back in the 60s when we sold off a lot of our businesses in urban communities to white legislators and white local government. So they bought up all our property, and when we figured out, oh man, we messed up, we tried to get it back. They was gonna sell it to us for 10 times what they paid for it.
The other thing too is, even like on the south side of town of my hometown, Land Bank owns everything, so you can't even buy any property to even start a business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and let's be clear though. Like a lot of this stuff. Yeah, maybe there was some of us that was foolish. It was a lot of this that was taken from our people though.
There you go.
Very true.
There you go.
Very true. There you go.
Facts.
So,
I can't deny that.
So I get it. I'm all about we need to do better for ourselves. I just think that and this might even get back to Hilton's sort of resource, comment, which is that we need to have attacks on multiple fronts, and one of those fronts is definitely us taking care of ourselves and taking care of our people and re-educating and breaking the cycle and all of those things like that. But the other front is telling these cats out here that you got to do better. We're more united. We need resources. We need legislation. Here's the other things that we need. We need you to stop killing us and police brutality. All of those things are still important while we still try to take care of ourselves. But what also happens a lot of times is while we're trying to take care of ourselves, then somebody murders one of us. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
They don't get convicted.
Or a child.
Or they take a child or whatever. So, and what am I to say to this lady right here? And you got to break the cycle. And somebody had just killed her son 2 years ago or something like that. She ain't trying to hear that break the cycle mess. She's trying to because she's just in that whole other headspace, right?
Yeah.
And
she's deflated.
I get that that's not everybody every time in every situation, but that's why I say we can talk about those things, and let's just know that like we got to have the battle on multiple fronts. And I do think that, like, if you think about the others out there, they would like us to be disjointed and fighting battles on multiple fronts. So sometimes we just gotta take a single front or
focus on one.
Yeah, or two or three if we got seven. You know what I'm saying? Because they would prefer us to be like arguing and going back and forth with each other, trying to get 18 things done. And so sometimes we just got to get one done, and but it's always tough. But we definitely, that never discounts the fact that we do still need to help our own selves in a whole lot of situations, for sure.
Let me jump in. Number one, Atlanta is technically the black city of America. What do you guys see wrong with what's going on there and how they can even fix that? Because if we can't get Atlanta right, what the hell else can we do? You know what I'm saying?
It's the gatekeepers.
It goes back to what you were saying, ID. That leadership, man.
It's the gatekeepers, correct?
That lack of leadership, bro. Like,
so is it
kills you every time?
Is it bottoms? You know what I'm saying? Is it the people that's speaking out? Is it Killer Mike? Is it T.I.? Like, why? Why do you even have Killer Mike and T.I. speaking for Atlanta?
I don't think it's really Killer Mike and T.I. because they're more grassroots and they're speaking from a genuine
I got you.
Atlanta, born and raised perspective. So they're
true, very true.
So they're doing what they can. But I think what it is it's you got those influx of people from everywhere else that wants to claim Atlanta, but they're not really being a face.
Hey.
The people that actually brought some bread to Atlanta ain't really doing anything to help empower the people like Killer Mike and T.I. are trying to reach. I mean, to me, that's the obstacles that I see is just lack of leadership, lack of financial leadership. There's a lot of black people in Atlanta that got that bread.
Yeah,
they call Atlanta the Detroit of the South, which basically means like the city has no money coming in because everybody lives in the burbs, but then they work in the city. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like LB, like how can you live in Detroit? You know what I'm saying? Like, how's that fixing? How are they fixing it?
Well, dude, this is all really kind of difficult stuff when you're talking about like fixing the city or whatever. I'm not sure how Atlanta can fix. I've seen some of the things that are going on in Detroit, and I can tell you what their approaches are, right? And their approaches are kind of like, we need to get some more businesses down here. We try to like knock down dilapidated places and things like that, and they're building like sort of like richness, like one neighborhood at a time. But the biggest problem currently is that they can get a lot of young people to come down there, but people don't end up staying a lot of times because of the school system. So because you're going to be down there, a lot of times you got to send them to private school, or you got to do this, that, or the third. I hope you're getting into like Jalen Rose in school or something like that. And so that's a whole lot.
Shout out to Jalen too, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Jalen Rose for sure.
And that's what I was saying, LB. It's about that people coming in and not investing. not putting their money where their mouth is.
Well,
True, yeah, and
I think that's a part of it. Go ahead.
What's that?
Just
No, you got that.
No, with the investment, the investment is definitely a part of it. I think, whether you're talking about Atlanta, Detroit, whatever. I mean, I think just at least a couple examples that could be instituted is, enact legislation or do something in order to stop gentrification that's going on nationwide. Atlanta's getting gentrified,
and that comes down to leadership.
Yeah,
that comes down to people not utilizing their vote and being smart enough to put the right people in place who think like that. Bebo, that gentrification is money. It's spot on.
I mean, it's ethnic cleansing. That's all it is. It's ethnic cleansing. So that's definitely going to make a major shift in any city. The other thing is government contracts. Government contracts to Black Americans, maybe 20 to 25% of the Black American contingent within like any city, you give them government contracts, and that's going to help out in a major way.
Well, that's one thing that they do in Detroit right now is whenever they build or whenever something goes on, you can't build in Detroit if I think something around 70% of your work, maybe it's 60%. I can't remember the exact number, but about 60 or 70% of your workforce has to live and reside in Detroit, or you can't get the contract. So that is definitely like one of them. But I'm telling you, man, a big one as far as keeping people in those cities though is the school system, man. So you definitely got to have these economic pieces of investment and all of that, but if you don't invest in your school system and the kids, nobody stays. They might come down there to party like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, but then as soon as they go to 25 to 30 and they want to have some kids, they like, well, I'm hitting the burbs.
Well, I'm all about like what JC was saying, which is basically policing ourselves, doing the Jalen Rose, having our own schools, and we can have anybody invest in those schools, but one of us has to start it. You know what I'm saying? The other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that gerrymandering. You know what I'm saying?
That's
as far as like where, and a lot of Black people don't really talk about that. Where where basically, if you don't know what gerrymandering is where they basically cut up the city where it basically gives an advantage to a certain political party. You know what I'm saying? So gerrymandering is really, really big too.
It's crazy. Have you ever seen those maps? Hopefully,
if you see the maps, you would be like, "Yo, that's crazy." And this is why I don't vote when it comes to president. I'm gonna be honest, I don't vote. All right. Real talk, man. If you understand politics, it's about super PACs. Real talk. It's about your money. But to me, you have to. If you don't vote locally, that's a damn problem. You know what I'm saying? You have to vote locally. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where you have a relationship with the person. You can call your mayor. You can call your city councilman. You can do a lot of things. So I don't care the douchebag or the turd gets in. It's still going to be the same thing. Wall Street's got to pop. But at the end of the day, on a local level, man, you can definitely make some changes and you can definitely do some things.
Correct.
For sure. What I'm saying?
Yeah. 100,000%.
Correct.
But like I said, going back to what JC said about building up our own thing, having some Black power, having a Black vote, on a local level, and doing some things like you said. If you don't have those schools and we're not educating that youth, it's an issue, man. You know what I'm saying?
But even something basic as like, you want to know why a lot of the houses that are expensive in a certain area are expensive? The reason is because a lot of times they'll be in the same district as like the highest performing school in the nation or something like that, or the state. You know what I'm saying? So not only when you think about when you think about schools, right, being good or bad in the neighborhood, that directly also translates to the value of your house, which is also other investments that we should be making, right? We should be having and owning property. But what's happened a lot of times is another kind of gerrymandering that was going on was redlining. They was putting us in these neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods for the exact same house will have less value. So there's a lot of systematic things where we tried to do it. We tried to buy the property sometimes, and then they just boxed us all into a spot, and then said, "Oh, them houses ain't no good because it's only Black people there." So that exact same house with the exact same square footage, 3 blocks over, ends up being worth, another 50,000, 100,000 more than your house. And you want to know where most Americans end up getting a lot of their riches? from their house. So, and that brings you right back to why you have to invest in the schools, because it also takes care of your house and your property, and all of that becomes an investment in that city and builds everybody up, right? Because
it's the same reason why projects fail.
Everybody goes up, right? And that's what you kind of look for some of the systematic issues is you want to just raise the tide, because when it goes up, then everybody goes up, and you don't have to individually pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people or whatever.
It's the same reason why projects failed, L.
Yeah, exactly same reason.
When the government did that, they basically a project, aka experiment, when they pretty much gave us the guinea pig wheel. They said, "Here, black people, running around in this little circle a million times. We're gonna see if it works or not." And once they realized that failed, that's when they tried to do the classic urban beautification projects. And they tried to tear down a bunch of projects and build $1 million
condos like they did in Chicago.
Yeah, man, and stick doctors and lawyers in there, knowing good and well we can't afford that either. So then they'll blast us out in places like Aurora, Illinois, and other little communities like this that's not technically in the city but still in the city, and then we end up putting people in rival gangs in the same neighborhood. So all those type of experiments don't work. Even that HUD funding stuff, that was it Clinton that started it, or Bush, whoever did it, but that failed too, because now we got poor black people out in not the suburbs, but right before you get to the suburbs type areas. And now those areas are run down.
Those city adjacents.
So Bebo P, where do you see it started in May, it's now July. Where do you see things in October, November?
Well, my hope is that the flame won't dwindle down even more than where it is right now. I'm in November. That's the election, so there's going to be a lot of high emotions with a lot of things. So there could be more activism.
How are we going to vote? Are we going to vote?
Yeah. We got to convert them activists into voters.
To vote.
Sure.
Well,
even if you guys don't vote, who you think's gonna win?
I mean,
Trump
right now,
is going to pull out every single last illegal thing that he can to stay in office, and I believe that he will use absolutely every single last tactic available to him, legal, illegal, muddy, or whatever, to stay in the office. So I do not want him to win, but the way that he just has to win and doesn't care, everything is off the table, everybody is fair game. He's probably going to win, even though they'll look back and say, well, he only had 40% of the vote of America, but somehow he finagled it to win.
I think what blesses Biden though is he has that church Negro who loves him. I mean, he really does. I mean, Hillary didn't have that. They didn't trust Hillary. They didn't trust Hillary. But I mean, Joe, he's Uncle Joe. He can go in any black church and get served.
Jim Crow Joe.
But should we trust Joe?
He can take.
Because Joe got some pictures with some people that's.
It's suspect, but I'm just saying. But the black,
he's definitely associated with segregationists back in the days.
No, I agree, Bebo.
Come on, Bebo P.
I agree, Bebo. But once you take communion one good time at the black church,
I'm with you. I get it.
You family.
You give a donation to the building fund, and they never gonna get built.
But
you family.
Yeah, I mean,
he got his own seat, front row pew.
No, absolutely. He's already got the church contingent on lock, but he doesn't have the grassroots on lock.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have the grassroots.
He doesn't yet. But I think that as time goes on, I think people are so mad at Trump that
and that's true too.
They're taking the lesser of two evils.
That's exactly how Trump got to the place that he got to, right? It's because they were so mad at Obama, blame Obama, and I can't believe this, this freaking Kenyan, and all of that craziness, that they were so mad they actually went out and voted when the next vote came in, and they put your boy Mr. 45 in.
Dude, I even heard a redneck that I work with. The dude's name is Rusty. You know your name is Rusty. You're pure.
Come on, Rusty Nail.
And this man is a Republican to the bone. And he said he's voting for Trump. He said, I don't like any of his policies. Don't do nothing for me. So I'm gonna vote for. I'm voting for Biden. Biden gets my vote.
No, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
so
he's
I'm
just
like,
voting for
if
another
Rusty,
racist, so it is what it is.
if Rusty is gonna vote for
that.
Biden, but thing is, there's a lot of guys out there just like that guy. It's a lot of Trump.
Hey, let me ask y'all this though: who's got the Hispanic vote?
I think your boy.
Who's gonna get that?
I think your boy 45 still might have that. Last I checked. I think.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bevo might be on to that, but I don't think he has 100% of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Catholicism says you have to go Republican because you're gonna follow the Catholic value.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
that's
thing
what
is,
a lot
though,
of
too,
Mexicans is.
Thing is, though, too, that's true, El.
Uh-huh.
When he pulled up at that church across the street from the White House, even a lot of like,
with that Bible in his hand.
man, they was heated off that. Like that dude lost coup points. He lost coup points off that one.
Maybe that put him over the edge. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
see.
see.
I'm interested.
We'll see.
And if the Mormons, ain't on. I mean, even the Church of Latter-day Saints, they done with Trump. They are. They done. As soon as he went in on homie, what's his name that ran for president?
Mitt Romney.
Obama. And as soon as he went in on Romney.
Shout out to Romney.
Yeah, shout out to Romney.
All them Latter-day Saints, and Utah was like, "Oh, Trump, we're good on you." This man went in on it after his
What
wife.
y'all think about Candace, man? What y'all think about her?
Man,
Besides the Trump endorsement, what do you think about her? Like her talking points.
there's some things that I feel.
I see Bebo P bitten at he's biting. I hear Bebo P over there.
Bebo P. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you to Charlemagne.
Go ahead, son. Go ahead.
I'm gonna save that.
Okay.
Because she is the most coon-tastic thing that I've ever.
Yeah, she is that
as soon
bad.
as she tried to blame George Floyd's history damn near on his death. Like this chick was so insensitive about this man dying, and then try to bring up his past as a reason why he died. And then she tried to step back on that and say, well, no, actually he was wronged in his death, but why are we celebrating him? Why is Black America celebrating him? It's not the fact that we're celebrating George Floyd. It's the fact that this dude died the way he died.
Well, but she's not stupid, though. She's not stupid. She's chasing butter biscuits, just like a lot of
chasing
us.
butter
So,
Man, hold up. Say that again. Hold on. What's she chasing?
she's chasing butter biscuits. She's chasing a position no different than Roly Poly Martin. Ultimately, he wants a leftist in office in order to get some type of commentator position or White House position in the White House. She's trying to get some type of notoriety in a similar regard for the right base. So come on, let's just keep it a buck. They
she
know
would
better.
cancel Aunt Jemima. she would cancel Aunt Jemima syrup.
Not Aunt Jemima.
What about the cream of wheat nigga?
Oh my God, bro!
Just get that man's family a check, man.
Uncle Ben.
Quit playing.
You know they wouldn't cut his family a check. They ain't cut him that.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, get the heck out.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, to me, this is where we come in and say, hey, man, we need to make our own, Uncle Earl's. I'm buying that Uncle Earl. You know what I'm saying? I'm buying that Uncle Earl. I'm buying it, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Give me the Master P noodles, fam.
Thank you. I've been looking for the Master. I guess I got to go to the hood to get the Master P noodles.
I need them soldier noodles.
I need some of that.
First of all, Master P, holler at us, man. We need to get you on the podcast,
Man.
I need some of that.
Legend, living legend.
The Shaka noodles. You know what I'm saying?
Not the sick, the shocker. He's talking like this, rapping like this. Hopefully, out of all of this, man, we see more entrepreneurship. That's what I want to see. I want to see more people getting together. I know Kyrie's kind of a little off, But I love what he said about creating our own league, even if it's
That's right.
a developmental league. To me, I want to see some more clothing lines, some more shoes made by us. I don't want to get a dashiki off of Amazon made in Taiwan.
Would you
know
call
it was made in Bangladesh, bro? Come on.
Bangladesh.
Would you?
So I want to see more creativity come out of this year.
You mean you don't want them Air Shanghais, bro? You don't want them Air Shanghais?
But like let's stop and take a look though. That's what Big Baller Brand was. Even though it failed miserably, like he was trying to do all of those things. Like he tried to start like a league, and it was ran by him. I'm not saying that his execution was any good.
Shout out to LeVar
all day. Big ups to the Ball family.
We can't shout out them shoes though.
He did try to come out with the Big Baller shoes. Was they way overpriced? Absolutely. Did
And
they
his
fall
son
apart
broke his
before?
ankles like 3 times on him.
Yeah. Did he have to change them every single quarter? Probably so. But he tried to do it. We just
Shout
need to
out.
get somebody
He
to
tried.
have the gusto that LeVar Ball has, but like, the execution of somebody else.
I mean, great point and great example.
Great point,
Great ID.
great
Great
point.
example. L. That is the other side of the coin. From the well, let me actually expound upon the resources. You both, ID and LB, just got done explaining one side, which is the entrepreneurship, or picking up some type of specialized trade, of some sort, or just doing something in order to get your dollars up in your bank account for you and your family. Entrepreneurship, skill, trade, some high level education all day. The other side of the coin, which will help to not only provide us with the overall resources, but to help to close the racial wealth gap, is going to be economic reparations. Now, we need reparations on an overall basis.
all day.
We need it on a well-rounded basis, no doubt, but it's going to have to start with reparations on an economic level. That's the other side of the coin.
Kanye, if Kanye got that in his bag, if he's running,
Straight up.
I'm voting for Kanye.
You know he ain't got that in his bag, man. Come on.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
somebody told me, kind of passing as a joke, but I kind of laughed and I was like, man, that's kind of intriguing. They was like, well, basically as reparations, black people should just get, when they should just get all the access to the weed for the next like 20 years. And so all weed shops got to go through like the black people.
Here's the thing.
And he was kind of saying it as a joke. But I was like, you know what? That would be a lot of money.
We buy every dispensary.
Just break
we
off
get
my
bought.
bread. Just break off the cash. Just break
Yeah,
that
I'll take the
first.
cash.
I could pay for
I'll take the
politicians.
I'll take that too.
But what about Corona? As Jason Black says, plug me up to one of them ventilator things, pass me the NyQuil, and cut the check.
Right.
We no more excuses. I don't want.
Yeah,
I mean,
cut the
y'all just
check.
got done passing stimulus checks for businesses, for individuals,
sure did.
and nobody asked.
Sure did.
I don't know how they're gonna be able to do that. No, people had their hand out, or it was just patiently waiting.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Passed it out to all of Trump's friends.
all of them. So with that,
Yeah,
coupled
man.
with the fact that other cultures have, reparations, Native Americans have land, casinos, and whatnot.
Well, and when they do this, when they do some more stuff with the Dream Act and some of the
There you go.
Hispanics,
That's another example.
that's going to be legislative grants that are going to be involved with that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to get a
There
check
you
too.
have that. Yep.
Come on. So,
Rights
you
for the
know, like I
We need,
said,
that check. We need economic reparations. I'm with you.
And it just starts there. It starts there.
At the beginning.
It's not gonna stop.
Well, and the other thing we got to talk about too, man, is the white man's ice being colder. I think that's another problem that we don't really talk about either. Is can we drop a bomb?
Go in,
please? I mean,
go
can
in,
we
man.
drop a bomb?
What you got to say? I
So,
did.
at the end of the day, man, like, even if you look at the Rosa Parks situation, we got beat up and got sprayed with hoses so you can sit a couple feet ahead on the same person's bus.
Right.
Instead of saying, you know what, let's make our own bus.
Right.
Buses in routes and X, Y, and Z. So to me, like, this is where we have to really go in and say, hey, even when we make stuff, you guys don't support it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so honestly, like, when you get a loan from the bank, or when I try to get a loan from a bank for a business and they say, nah, we're not gonna give it to you, they're looking at, hey man, will this money get returned? And so if his own people won't support his business, why would we give him the money?
True story. That's
So at the end of the day, we got to get past that. Hey, Louis and Gucci and Balenciaga.
True.
Hey, man,
True
let's
story.
get Tyrone and Leroy's and all our brands that we doing. You know what I'm saying? So
real
like
talk.
I said, on our page, on our social media, if you have any Black-owned businesses, put them in there, comment below, because we want to support them, or at least put them on our platform so we can help each other make some more money too. Because if we stop being haters of our own people, man, we're going to come up heavy.
Yes.
Right now, if we put all our money together right now, we would be the 12th wealthiest nation in the world.
I hear you, bro.
So at the end of the day, man, like, we have to start uniting. That's what we used to have before that nobody had, and they've taken that away from us.
Yes,
you know
we
what I'm
did.
saying? Or we've taken it away from ourselves.
Back in the day,
Where
we bought black.
We don't even want to talk to Black women, and Black women don't want to talk to us.
We bought everything
You know,
black.
or even spend money with us.
Well,
We bought everything black back in the day. Before they took everything
all
from us.
day.
well,
All day.
yeah, and we kind of had to, we kind of had to in those conditions. We obviously know about
We did.
yeah,
That's how we had black millionaires back in the
Black
day.
millionaires,
Yeah.
Black
All
Wall
day,
Street. I mean,
That Harlem Renaissance was a beast back then.
it was, but like ID said,
But it goes back to, we got to start supporting our own people.
Yes.
Real talk. And like LB said, yes, the Baller brand shoes were trash. You know what I'm saying? But they finally got one going, and by that time, it was already over with.
By that time, too many ankles was broken.
Exactly. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, us as Black people, we overhype situations, and we do very well. Shout out B. Simone with your little book situation. We overhype things, and then when it comes out, we don't put the care that the product needs.
Yeah.
And so we end up getting rid of our clientele just off the product quality, because we're trying to rush something out real quick, and we don't take the time to really go in and perfect that product.
correct.
So, like I said, at the end of the day, man, we have to start helping each other, buying each other's products, man. Like I said, even on this podcast, if you Black and you listening, you need to like the joint, share the joint, and comment.
There you go.
That's how you support us, with no money.
Yeah.
You know
Just,
what I'm
just,
saying?
a, just a little
No
tappy
money.
tap.
There you
Little
go.
tappy.
So, like I said, man, we just wanted to go in today, man. This is not going to be the last Black Table Talk.
no.
We wanted to kind of go in tonight, man, and just kind of give you guys just a raw, uncut, conversation that we normally have. This is what we have. This is how we talk on the phone. So,
Yeah.
we just want to holler at you guys, man, again. Last words from everybody, man, before we leave out.
Oscar Wilde quoted that America is the only country that went from barbarism to decadence without civilization in between. And it's up to us as a country, of the world, to make sure that we institute the biggest solution, which is Black empowerment, against our greatest enemy as a whole, white supremacy, the dominant society.
Yeah.
Because that root word, for lack of better wording, in civilization is civil, so let's show them what civility is all about as a collective. With the support, with the advocacy, with the ongoing persistence toward what it is that we need for our overall betterment.
That's what's up. Definitely.
L.
Hey, my people, I love you. I love my Black people. I just appreciate who you are, how you are, all the things you have done, all the things you've accomplished, all the things you've overcome. It is a tiring cause, but it's still a cause nonetheless that needs to be, chased after. And you know what? Hey, we might make a few mistakes. And I know my Black folks, y'all gonna correct us if it is a mistake anywhere. And but continue to do that, because we need it, right? We need to know when we're wrong. We need to know when we're bullheaded. We need to know when we need to switch directions or do whatever it is that we need to do so that we can accomplish what we need to accomplish, because ultimately that is the goal, right? The goal is to get to the spot and the place that we want to be, and to get there it's going to take a lot of us in a lot of places, and a lot of us holding each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? And so please, hey, hold us all accountable here. Hold yourselves accountable, and hold your homegirls and your homeboys accountable for everything that they do and the things that they put out there. And we shouldn't have to be perfect to not get killed, and we shouldn't have to be perfect to get to economic success. We should be able to be as we are, with a little softness added, maybe. But other than that, like, hey, we should be able to do that, and we should be able to make it and achieve to the goals that we want to get to and not get killed. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, and don't bump into my Chipotle bag. You know what I mean? Man. JC, take us home, man.
Since Bebo had a quote, let me go ahead and drop a quote as well from my boy Freddie D. That's Frederick Douglass for the special ed class out there. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. What that means is let's start building future generations. The time is now. The time is now to empower our kids. The time is now to give them some type of financial whereabouts, any type of financial success that they could possibly get. This is when we should start the generational wealth now and pass it down. So our children should now be the bearers of any torches that we doing now. Any flags that we planting today, our children should be picking it up and running with it and be so much better than us, so much more successful, so much more powerful, better leaders, better examples for their kids. Exactly. So let's start that now, man. Shout out to Frederick Douglass for that.
Shout out. And artists, let me throw an entertainment reference real quick. Start using your voices more for your people. I don't care if it costs you a few extra dollars or whatever from, your handlers or whoever, speak out on, support for your people. You owe it to yourself.
This is the thing too. This is for all the black people in the suburbs who's left the hood. Whether it's because you're successful, whatever's going on. Right. This is a personal invite from Black America to come on home. We want you to come back. We want you to come back to the hood, help us out. It's great that
don't forget where you're from.
It's great that you made it. Right. But how do we cookie cut you to make more of you? You know what I'm saying? Because once you leave, we need our talented tents back. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of y'all on Roscoe Jenkins type shit. Where you leave, you get a new boo, you get your money, and now you brand new. And come back home, man. And I understand the culture's crazy. I understand you see stuff and it embarrasses you, and you try to basically get to yourself because you saying you were about to lose your job. And you're like, oh my God, all my friends are gonna think that's my cousin. But come on home and help us. I know our people ain't right in the head, but they still are people. We still gotta love them. You know what I'm saying? So this is an official invite to come back to your people. Even if you start a foundation, even if you donating socks, even if you donating computers, we need more of you guys to come back and get it together, because those are the people who have been quiet this whole time. It's the people who have really helped us. You know what I'm saying? And I understand why you're being quiet. I get it, and I understand why you left. But at the end of the day, we all still black. You get pulled over, you still black.
You're still black, bro.
You know what I'm saying? You still the nig in the coop.
That invitation,
you know what I'm saying?
By the way, doesn't go for the coon class. I'm sorry, because we don't need y'all to disrupt the black empowerment fray. So no. Sheriff Clark, Jesse Lee Petersons and all them. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, your hair is just as beady as mine. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Nah, we don't. There's certain ones where we don't to make the water toxic, and once we one day purify it. So everybody ain't invited back, but there are select individuals that do get one more chance.
I'm a quote Kanye. Even if you're in the Benz, you're still a nigga in the coop. Wow. You know what I'm saying? We need you to come back. You know what I'm saying? We need you to come. Kanye, we need you to come back too.
Kanye, come back, man. We need Kanye. Come back, bro.
He claims that he did. He said he does not support Trump in his presidency. He said that.
Well, let's see what happens. Like him said, let's see what happens in November. You know what I mean?
There you go.
But like I said, we love you guys, man. Thank you for all the support, man. On Spotify, Apple Music, Facebook, man. Like we do this for you guys, man. Like real talk, we not rich, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't none of that.
So we taking time out from family and businesses, man, to just put some game out there for y'all. So like I said, JC, Bebo PLB, man. Like I said, everybody's loving the commentary you guys bring every week, man. So salute to you guys again. Salute to the fans. Check us out on rawfin.com, all the social media platforms. Again, we love you guys. The next Black Table Talk is this Sunday, and we might go live. We'll let y'all know.
We just may.
Yeah. Peace. Black
verse.
You about to lose your job.